Welcome back to Tricks Fix. Today's tutorial is on Webster. Let's get into it. First, let's look at some good Websters. We're going to do some breakdowns, focus on body positioning, and seeing what makes a good Webster a good Webster. First step to having a good Webster is knowing how to enter your Webster. So go ahead and lift up the leg. You will not be swinging back, and you're going to do a mini hop onto that leg. And keep in mind, you do not need to jump high for this. It's just a very small jump to transfer your weight onto your left leg. Momentum is created from the jump off the leg, not onto the leg. So if you jump really high, it's going to be really difficult for that left leg to absorb impact. Now the weight transfer is complete, and he's preparing to take off for his Webster. There are two very important things to note here. His left leg is directly beneath him, holding up his weight perfectly. You can't have a good takeoff if you don't have 100% of the weight on your left leg. Second thing to notice is where his knee and his heel is on his right leg, his swinging leg. They are in front of his left leg. What's going to happen is his right leg, his swing leg, is going to kick up and get behind him and hit maximum peak. When that happens, it's going to lift him off the ground. But if you start with your right leg, your swing leg, already behind you, it has less time to accelerate than if it starts in front of you. You can almost double the time that it takes, but you need to be efficient. Too far ahead might take too much energy, so just test the distance, but it should be at least a very small amount in front of your base leg. At this point, he's started his backswing. It is not finished yet, but he's focused on his arms. So his arms were at his sides, and now they're in front of his head. And the reason that they're there is so he can get that back arch and start to lift his hips. Having the arms in front of him also prepares him for the arm backswing so that you can undertuck and flip as tight as possible. Imagine you have a 50-pound suitcase and you pick it up off the ground and then you throw it, but then you don't let go. It's going to drag you or make you fall over. Well, that's exactly what he's doing in his backswing. So his leg holds a lot of weight to it and a lot of energy in it as he swings it backwards. Once it peaks out and hits his max height, he flexes from his swing leg glute, which would be his right leg, to his butt and down to his base leg toe. That creates a tight structure and allows him to jump off the floor. If you don't jump, it will still drag you over. You need to peak it out so that it will knock you over or you jump. That means that it's actually assisting you in your jump. Maybe a better way to explain that is imagine doing box jumps and you swing your arms to get higher. Your arms have weight to them. So by swinging them, then it makes you not have to jump with that weight. You're throwing that weight into the air, and then you're jumping because now you weigh less. So what you're doing with that Webster kickback is you're swinging that leg really far back, and then now you don't have to lift one of your legs, which is a fourth of your limbs, or maybe even a quarter of your body weight. At this point, takeoff is complete. He felt his hips go up, which means that he went up. So now because of the arm backswing, his arm's in a good position to grab onto his legs. I'd prefer if you tucked under. It's a lot tighter for Webster, but for overtuckers, it's just going to be harder to open up. But basically, all he's doing at this point is he just threw his legs and his hips over himself, and now he's got to hold on for the ride. And just because he's hanging on for the ride doesn't mean he's not actively spotting. He's searching for the wall as soon as possible, because as soon as he sees it, then his head can stay neutral and then the rest of his body will unfold underneath him. The unfolding is complete. He's in a tall position. A lot of people have a hard time getting to this tall position because of timing. It's not because your Webster's not high enough. A lot of Websters do go high enough, but they land super crunched. And the reason is because they don't spot that wall soon enough, and because they're not tight enough during the flip rotation. The faster you can get the flip over with, the sooner you can open up, which creates this really big, powerful aesthetic. Let's look at another Webster in less detail, but with different tech. Eric's Websters have a bit of a side flip, unquarter vibe to them. Mine are extremely square because I tuck both legs. He only holds on to one leg, and there's nothing wrong with that because he still lands square and he gets plenty of height. Nobody can tell until you do the breakdown. But take a look at mine real quick. So, a small jump onto my left leg. My arms start forward and I start tall. My chest never lowers, but I have this Russian move to it, and that's that back arm swing. So it's like a Russian front. They do go forward, but it's much more manual swinging, less like front flip punching tech to it. Again, notice that back leg swing, how it peeks out before I jump. And my main focus as Webster is being as tight as possible so that I can open as soon as possible. Tuck like you're doing a double Webster, and then with that excess rotation, you'll just have open time. Now let's take a look at some fancy Websters. What's cool about these is you get to see what the perfect weight distribution is, because you're going to be jumping really high or doing some really fancy thing into it, and figure out, like, from a weird takeoff, they still hit these points, which means those points are the most optimal. So if you hit those points trying to do the most efficient Webster possible, not a fancy Webster, then you will be able to get away with other bad tech because you're hitting the key points. This here is like an Alex Omidvar Webster. So even though he jumped excessively high and barely tucked, he still made it around. Here's key point number 1. Heel and knee still in front of the base leg. Weight distribution, the left leg is still underneath him. Arm prep and maximum backswing. He also has some really great heel drive at the end there to get his hips underneath him for that unfolding. Now I'm going to play the rest of these fancies in regular speed, then in slow-mo. And so let's see why this one works. So the left leg replaces the right leg. The weight is on the right. Left leg comes down, replaces. Arm swing, back swing. I can open tall because I went up. And the tight tuck also assisted in getting it over with quickly because I didn't have a lot of height, actually. Okay, so that one's really good. This shows that he has so much extra room with this technique. Also, notice that his heel, I'm going to play this again, notice that his heel, it's like it goes forward and then hooks around. That is definitely the preferred technique. Something you could do is with this jump here, put a foam block next to your non-swing leg, and then it forces you to put your right foot farther in front and really heel drive into that foam block. This one is different than the normal Webster, but it might actually be better to learn this first. So he's skipping from his right foot to his left foot, and that allows him to get a really natural block. That's really natural for the human body to do and really easy to understand. So that might be something that you do to practice understanding how to put the weight onto your left leg and then getting that backswing. Because if the weight's not distributed properly, the backswing's not going to work. You can also do this set and any of these Websters set into dive roll, and then when you feel comfortable enough, just tuck it over. This next one is super cool because you can really see what you need to make that second Webster happen. It's not a lot. So opening early, getting that right leg in front, and that allows a good block, and then super tight tuck. That's all I focused on this was right leg in front of the left leg, so swing leg in front of the base leg, getting vertical and tucking tight. I really didn't jump that high. I thought I was higher and tried to open, but it didn't matter because I got so tight that it made it flip over quick enough, and that right leg was in front, so it made me stay in place versus moving backwards or forwards. I also had no idea that I almost died from that tumbler. This is the last fancy Webster that we did. Follows the exact same pattern. Left leg down, big kick. So left leg, big kick, and he just hangs on for the ride. All these Websters are the same. All of them have the same main key points with small differences that don't matter. If you can poorly execute a trick and still land it, it just means you have a lot of high potential left for that trick. Let's look at some less perfect Websters. These are both really good. The second one does come out more like a side flip, though, and that's a really common issue, and I don't count that as a Webster when people just do it singly. This is probably like Webster, but why does that happen? It's because he only tucks one leg, his right arm is out, so then he turns to the side, and it's probably more like a bail or like a safety point. It's easier to get sideways than it is to come out blindly forwards. So now we know why it happens. Now how do we fix it? How do we fix it? We just have to stand up tall right away, not let our chest drop so that the backswing can go up, then we can flip around. All of these people, their chests are dropping too early. They need to be more comfortable and fluid and just go taller in the beginning. And if they allow that to happen, then they will also have more time in the air to tuck very, very tight. The best Webster sets are always super relaxed and comfortable. If you're tense or trying to rush it or trying to be strong during that set, it's really going to take away from your height versus just being comfortable and letting it just flow through. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Go ahead and comment any suggestions for Webster or any thing that you might need help with in the future, tutorials that I might be able to make for you guys. I have 2 more hopefully coming out this week, Master Scoot and Swing Throughs. Keep an eye out for those, and good luck on your Websters.